everyone. Welcome to Talk SPED. Today we are in conversation with Dr. More about autism and early intervention.
Thank you, Namita, for having me here today. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Nivedita More. I'm a board-certified pediatrician with Stanford Children's in Fremont, California. And I also work at Cisco Life Connections Health Center in San Jose, California.
Dr. More, we are so excited to have you today. Could you tell us a little bit more about how early can you identify autism?
Early diagnosis requires a partnership between parents and pediatricians like myself. Based on the current diagnostic tools like ASQ, which is Ages and Stages Questionnaire, and the MCHAT, which is the Modified Checklist for Autism in Toddlers, I can diagnose autism as early as 18 months of age, Namita.
I know that early diagnosis helps, so this is wonderful. Could you tell me a little bit more about the tools that you mentioned, and are they available for our listeners?
I use a validated tool in 5 different areas of development, specifically communication, gross motor, fine motor, problem solving, and personal social skills with the ASQ3 at 9 months, at 18 months, and at the 30-month checkup. I also administer the MCHAT at the 18-month and the 24-month visits, specifically to screen for autism during their well-child checkups. Both these tools may be available through the local First 5 and the Help Me Grow websites for parents, and the MCHAT is universally available and is free to be administered by the parents by themselves.
Wow, that's wonderful. What happens once they have the diagnosis? What is the next recommendation that you have?
So depending on the age of the diagnosis, the children get referred to the local county programs which are in the community. I recommend early intervention for children under 3 years of age through the county like First 5 and Help Me Grow. For children over 3, I refer the parents to seek help from their local public school districts.
Thank you, Dr. More. These are very helpful suggestions, and I know these are the practices in the United States. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the resources that you are sharing with families as you're through your practice?
Yeah, so some of the parenting tools are all free to be accessed by these parents. I specifically recommend healthychildren.org, which is from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The content is written by board-certified pediatricians like myself. It's a great parenting tool, and it's for all children, for all ages, up until young adulthood, actually. For autism-specific tools, I recommend Autism Speaks, which is a nonprofit organization by the parents, and I highly recommend that website for the parents who need some extra help in parenting.
I would just like to add, as from the school perspective, we definitely like understood.org, another website which is again available and has all the information on early intervention, and also the Autism Navigator, which has a lot of videos and parents and educators can look at it to understand developmental milestones at different ages. But what about some of the treatment options that you recommend in your practice?
Yeah, as you know, Namita, autism is a lifelong process. We can only help this child who is diagnosed to circumvent some of the social barriers that the child faces with therapy. If anything helps a child with autism, it is early diagnosis, therapy, and early intervention through certified therapists to get the better outcomes that they deserve.
Absolutely. Early intervention is key for helping them become independent, successful adults in the community. Can you share, I do know that, there is a lot of emotional setback for certain families or thoughts and process as they're dealing with the diagnosis. What are some of the other barriers that you come across when you're talking to families?
Yeah, apart from the emotional barriers that some families face, I see some of these other things that come in their way, especially time, the financial burden, The resources and especially the navigational process of these resources can be daunting for some of these families. Some of the financial burden, that also adds another layer of stress to these families. Fewer therapists are available who are certified to help these children. And a navigating process is just made easier with one-stop shop like Help Me Grow and Force 5 in most counties in California. And also the school district could be used and can be used as a resource for these families as a one-stop shop.
Working with the school district, I can totally relate with what you're saying, Dr. Morey, that parents do have to be an advocate. They have a voice. The process can be extremely daunting and sometimes very long drawn. And that can, really make you feel like, am I doing everything right? They have to take that first step and really be there with their child, supporting them through the process. So the last bit, I definitely want to know, how is your practice being affected during this COVID time?
During the pandemic, we are continuing to see families in our offices for routine well child visits and vaccines in person. We are using social distancing measures and following all the precautions as recommended by the Center for Disease Control in our offices. And we continue to see our sick patients via video visits, so you won't be encountering that in-person sick patient with the well patient in the office. The children with special needs are really missing out with the one-on-one kind of, the personal touch that the therapists bring to these children at school or even at home. So it's been really difficult with the pandemic currently.
It is being creative as therapists, and I know that is a big push in all school districts, and how to better serve the students in these times. Thinking outside the box is what everyone is doing. Also, just as we end today's conversation, what is it that you want to say to the parents who are struggling right now?
Yeah, I really think it's important that the parents realize that they need to stay calm during this whole process, enjoy their time with their kids, wash their hands, of course, eat healthy, minimize screen time, model good behavior. Don't be so hard on themselves either, and really stay active as much as possible. There are really no grades to be a parent. There is no pass or fail. Whatever they're doing, we really want to encourage them. And that's just great for all the kids.
Thank you so much. That is such a good advice, Dr. Morey. And hang in there. We're all in this together and we'll get through it.